Hi, everyone. Welcome to this live transmission. I'm here today with my dear JP. Long time no seeing. I
Hey,
think,
long time no see. I'm so happy to be here on your show. Uh, a lot of things are happening. You know, we got the second batch of disclosure coming out. It's paratrooping away. That's why I have this hat. I was a paratrooper. I used to jump out of planes. You know, the second batch of disclosure is coming in, and it's moving the foundations of everything that's happening around the world. You know, disclosure is happening. Let's go. Let's
yes,
go.
yeah. Well, you need to be prepared. You don't know at what time they will be calling you. So I
Yeah.
don't know, sleep with your uniform or,
Bam.
yeah. You need to have it handy there, just
Yeah.
in case. So, as you know, beloved tribe, we were recently at the Rise of the Guardians. JP also joined us at the Day of Being, and we shared some amazing codes with the Native American tribes there.
Oh
As
yeah, we had a blast with that guy. He did an amazing job bringing that energy, and it was so cool being there because when he was singing, we heard. I looked at you straight your eyes, and then we saw the birds. After like
yeah,
what 2 3 minutes he was singing, the birds started singing the same melody that he was singing. So it was like so exciting. Like you could feel the energy in that area. It was mind blowing for me. It was something new, but I felt like I looked at you. You looked at me. You were like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Whoa, that is crazy." And I don't know if a lot of people recognize that or realize that, but we noticed it. We locked eyes and we're like, and you're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yo, this is amazing."
yes, yes, it was, and I even mentioned to you that this happens very much in the Egyptian temples. They're full of birds. All of a sudden, the birds start chanting, when responding at you. So I was wondering, did you ever, because for the people that don't know what was happening, is the elder was started singing, like praying,
Mhm.
and the frequency that he was emitting is Sunni. It was a very high vibration,
Mhm.
like equivalent to a bird like. So have you ever, did it bring you back to when one of the arcs have been activated, or like a type of frequency that you have heard coming from any of these devices? Because like, perhaps for the ones that weren't there, it's hard to to picture it, or to know what we're talking about. You can go in the videos in my posts. I did upload a video from him, but
Mhm.
his prayer, it's like a very specific frequency that is locking into the field.
Mhm.
And generating such a high resonance that it's expanding, and therefore, the birds start to mimic it. So have you experienced something like that being emitted from from any artifact or technology?
So when the Aztecs, Los Indios, they started entering the arc, and that portal was activating. And then you had the Chinese and you had the Americans arguing, right? And we had the translator. He was like, "Oh my God, Los Indios, they're going in there. We don't know what to do." So we couldn't go behind them, but what they were singing. Imagine being. It was a similar feeling when you see the interaction of the animals, and when they, but the arc itself, when it activates and created that like water portal looking thing with fumasa, like with smoke. So what we saw was like a smoke spiraling in, and like a fabric of liquid that was being created, and the outer edges of the smoke spiral, and the smoke, when the people walk towards the smoke, it engulfed los indios, the Aztec, when they were singing ahoa, asoa, mateoa, akuria mate. So they kept singing that, and you could hear the echo of that throughout the arc. Throughout the arc, you can hear the echo. So when, for example, if somebody said ahoa, you can hear a echo of a hoa throughout the arc. But when you get to asoa, it's still saying ahoa in the behind you. So you're ahoa, asoa, ahoa, asoa, akuria, and then over here it says akuria, and then they start saying mate. So it was like a synchro, like como si fuera miles de gente, like thousands of people singing it in the same time. You can hear the vibration. Like, I don't know, the technology that the arc has of amplifying certain vocal sounds. There's certain vocal sounds that are more amplified than other ones. So I know people that study music, they know about these different types of sound that can be amplified in different locations. I think the ancient Romans knew about this technique. The ancient Egyptians knew about the technique, and I'm sure Los Aztecas or Los Indios, the Indians that were from Arizona all the way down to Panama through the Caribbean. All these Indians that were linked in with each other.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, like in front of the pyramids in Mexico, now that you bring that up, you clap at a very specific distance,
Yeah.
and the sound of what we perceive as the quetzal, which is a bird,
Uh-huh.
starts rippling all the way into the square.
Yeah, I heard
Exactly.
that before.
Exactly. But the geometry, the geometrical pattern that it is resonating, that frequency it's resonating, what is actually it's empowering the oscillation that
Mm.
but like, let's say, like through the very same vector equilibrium, like is the stabilizer of
Mhm.
the field of this isotropic field, but also amplifying the oscillation. So they really made it simple. They really made it simple. Even it's a very complex and advanced technology, they made it very simple so that through their own embodiment, their own presence, in every moment, it would be nourishing the network.
Oh.
So now, and in Egypt, in the pyramids, is the same. Like a person that perhaps thinks like, I don't know, goes into the pyramid, and you will listen to that person as an angel, like, "Ooh." I'm not saying I'm an angel, but saying anything, but like in a very maybe, who knows, but yeah. But like they harmonize, like the materials, the measurements, the whole geometrical structure that constructs that space. It's harmonizing, it's creating harmony. Why? because they work through vacuum and through free energy,
Mhm.
and the free energy, what it's doing is generating that constant vacuum, which stabilizes the field. So um, now that you're mentioning about the arc, when we talk about all these codes, because you have mentioned about how there's some light codes show up, you know, like
Mhm.
this through this plasmic resonance.
Mhm.
How do you experience that? How does it feel in your field seeing these symbols ignite? Does it provoke to use something like touching them, like trying to pronounce what they say? What happens?
For me, I'm speaking Spanish already. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
For me, I believe the technology of construction of these beings are far more beyond than what we can comprehend. The construction of how they build their clay, the construction of how they build these arcs, these materials, right? These materials that the arcs were made, right? It's made by a micro type of material that, depending of how close you get to it, if you get close to the wall of the arc and you do like this, ooh, and vibrate in front of this little piece or material, you can see your voice doing a circle similar. You know what captivated me? There was a guy there in Sedona that he had this instrument that connected with the laser, and depending how you talked to it, or it resonated into the wall, the same reaction. So this material, that wall, is like, for example, if we take this right here, right, and you depending on the distance, it's gonna show a different color. But because of the echo and how the construction of inside the arc is, once you talk, everything lights up. And I think it has to do, I know, yeah, it could be something spiritual, but it's also, I think, the technology that is implemented into their material that the ark is made. And I know most of the Nordics ships, because of frequency, they light up. And also the plasmoids, depending on where they're at, they also light up. So I think the material has a big factor of this technology that we haven't found yet. And I think this is going to be released probably in a third batch or fourth batch, if there's going to be so many batches being released of the UFO files. But it's so far advanced, these materials that these ships are made of, that depending of how you talk, it's like a chameleon. It turns different colors and frequencies. So I
Yeah.
think it is more due of the technology that these materials are made. They change in color. It's an amazing technology how it is.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And like while you're saying this, is what comes to me is like, because they are projecting themselves from another dimension, even though they are here and we see it and we touch them, they are truly mainly anchored in a higher density, so they are mainly more talking as light, expressing as light. So when you're capable or you're resonating in a very specific frequency or due to your genetic code,
Mhm.
you can see this and you can interact this with this at a different level. So, for instance, one thing that I know, because of course, if we bring into the native tribes, I'm pretty sure that it's not that they all had this genetic encoding, but they were trained, which is very different. And you should see it in the military forces.
Yeah.
Perhaps you arrive and you're already very tapped into, and you have your psionics very
Well,
activated,
yeah.
but the other ones are trained to actually,
Actually,
empower their own potential. And then you have a bunch of powerful beings that are capable to trace that,
Yeah.
So you were mentioning it. Remind me also of Sedona, because at night I would stare at the sky, and besides seeing a bunch of spaceships, you
Mhm.
know, and some of them like apparently being shooting stars, but then all of a sudden disappearing, like zoom, they're gone. You know, I would see this plasma suspended in the sky at night. Like it could
Wow.
be huge, like me capable of touching it, like a smoke, like you were saying, and capable of touching that plasma. And so it was a plasma shower. I was receiving plasma showers every night. And what I feel that is happening, and now speaking about plasma and interdimensional technologies, I feel that as it's within, what does plasma does within us? Well, it empowers, it's the power source, it regenerates, and so forth. So my input on this, one of them, is that these plasma beings, these plasma technologies, what they are doing are regenerating the primordial lattice
Yes.
before the distortion, before the control, before the dryas, before. What do you think about that?
I think that the activation of sound with these technologies, when we visited also the ant people, we had a guy with a flute out of nowhere, right? It had a flute. So we're like, it's the joke. Why does this guy have a metal wooden flute? He's a musician from the army. And he just we're out in the woods, right? Like 6 or 8 of us, and then this soldier comes out with a flute in front of a bush, and he starts playing like if he was a I don't know, come on, like activating something. And we're like, this guy's nuts. Why is he playing the flute? So when we saw him playing the flute, he was like really into it. And if we look throughout history, we look at David, how he played the harp, how the harp calmed who was it? It calmed what's his name? It's not Solomon, the father of Solomon.
uh it's David.
Yeah, it was David is the father of Solomon, but
Yes.
David, Saul, there we go. He started because Saul was being enraged with a lot of spirits, right? Or something like that. So by him playing the harp, these spirits, his negative spirits, left him and made him happy again. So music is one of the oldest languages that we have. And I posted something earlier on about this, and it's kind of cool that we're talking about this now. That, and I think I told you about this. The spiders,
Mm.
they have the memory of making webs. Okay,
Yeah.
it's embedded in their DNA. But the birds, instead of webs, they have language that is embedded in their DNA. So they're already born knowing what they're saying. So that's a type of intelligence that is passed down by DNA. So language is passed down instead of making webs like spiders. There's beautiful
Yes.
webs. You know the how they
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Through the spiral. Yeah.
so the birds have that. They know how to pass down through DNA languages throughout. That's why you see a bluebird over here in the south in Mexico, and you see the same bluebird over here in New York, and they're singing the same song. Why? Because it's embedded. The language is embedded in their DNA. So when we play the flute, and he activated this things, these instruments are activating things within us as well. The voices, when you sing, it's activating the pineal gland, is activating the frequency, and this is how they connect with you. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. Uh,
No, 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 not at all.
I think jumping out of the plane really messed me up. No, a lot of jumps, you know. So sometimes I'm sorry if I am all over the place, but I like to put pieces of puzzles together to,
Welcome to my mind.
yeah, to open up other people's entendimiento or understanding of how this is affecting us as humanity to develop more of how we move in this world.
Yeah, yeah, and but no, I love it, and I think this is one of the languages that you and I share besides the Spanish and other ones,
Mm-hmm.
which is seeing different dots as this plasma that I was seeing and connecting it. You know, the beauty of it is transmitting it in a way that through the voice, because I tell you this, and I told you last time, also the frequency of our voices is
Mm-hmm.
capable to, even if someone doesn't fully get where you're coming from or the
Mm-hmm.
information that you're conveying, the frequency truly is activating the DNA, you
Yeah.
know, whether if it's your intention or not, where you're coming from, you know, like a very grounded and neutral point, but that happens because that's the way that we are designed, you know. And speaking of which, like you were talking about the birds, the pineal gland in the birds, actually it's definitely more let's say receptive and sensitive to all the frequencies. So as we know, the pineal gland is very close to what we call the hippocampus, which is the memory.
Mm-hmm.
So I have experienced so many times just by chanting how I start remembering things.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So because I mean, all these codes where we see these bird beings with the pine cone, and I
Mm-hmm.
even showed, you know, like in my presentation in Sedona, how these elongated beings, as what we would call as priests,
Mm-hmm.
elongated small beings, are putting a pine cone in each one's heads, you know, like a follow up one after the other, and all of them placing this pine cone in the back part of their brain.
Oh wow.
So let me see. Hold on, because I do even have it here. So,
Oh wow.
friends, oh, let me here. You see the eye,
Okay.
and it's giving the pine cone to this elongated skull being.
Mm-hmm.
And with the hold on, with the other hand, it's receiving this vessel that you will see it very often. The translation in the Egyptian glyphs, they say it represents the bread. But what
Mm,
is the bread? They would also call the bread as monoatomic gold, you know,
yeah.
or other type of uh,
Mana.
mana. Exactly. So, and here you see you have the first being, elongated skull being, and see how they are putting the pine cone.
Inside the head. Wow.
Exactly. One after the other.
So knowledge being shared through generations. Wow, that's interesting.
It's very interesting, and this eyed figure is bringing in. So, one of the things that I have tapped into is that through our pineal gland, it's the main epicenter for us to be interconnected to the primordial lattice. This is why they try to calcify it. This is why, because once our pineal gland is pure, we are capable to tap into source, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because that's the way that it was also disposed. For instance, as I was saying, you know, for me, these plasma beings and plasma technologies, what they are doing is regenerating as the plasma within itself, they're regenerating the primordial lattice. What do I mean by the primordial lattice? For me, every time that we start playing games with the timelines,
Mm-hmm.
fabric of space-time fissures, like the very same tissue of the skin, you start changing, pulling one, you know, at some point it will start to fissure it.
Yeah, to rip.
So,
Yeah.
so these technologies are regenerating what all these time warping technologies have been doing to the space-time fabric, disabling our capability to know what really happened. Because this is also why one person says, no, this happened, no, this happened, no, this, because all of it happened. There were so many Mandela effects happening
Mhm.
that it generates a lot of confusion. So they are aligning the reality to the core, a core timeline, to say it somehow. And for, no, go for it, go for
No,
it.
no, you're no, you're on the point.
Okay. What I would love to know, because I know that you have like a lot of contact with the Nordics and also with the plasma spheres, and
Mhm.
what happens in your body when you are connecting with those fields? Do you see that there is like this huge resonance of something very deep within trying to activate? Do you see shifts in your body later on? Like whatever.
I notice when I interact with these beings and I come to the house and I look myself in the mirror, um, my facial features look younger. Like I look younger, but I have a lot of white hair.
Hmm.
I have a lot of white hair. I get like a lot of white hair. So I'm like, what happened to me? So I shave and then the black hair grows back. I'm like, okay, good. So I feel like it puts some type, it has to put some type of stress on DNA, but in a good way. Because if we look out through history, when people interacted with these superior beings, like for example, Moses, when he went to the mountain and then he came back down all white beard, and he came out like shining.
Yes.
Sometimes even my head shines up, shined up like
Like,
if I were, yeah, like como si fuera, like like
before, like earlier.
yeah, like earlier.
Was already enlightened, you guys. I
Yeah.
had to grown him a little bit, otherwise we wouldn't have had a
We're
show.
trying to cover the lights off, but it's you. I swear, I see myself glowing sometimes after these experiences. So I don't know for me what it means, or if other people have been through the same experience. But when these beings interact, I feel like a shyness of glow that I see of myself. And my daughters, or yeah, my family, they notice sometimes. Oh, Dad, are you back from something? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Think something happened. So I don't go into details with,
Of
but
course.
it's everything in your body changes like to happiness, like happiness, or like good thoughts, happy timelines type of thing. Like all you think is about happiness. You don't worry about the bad or not negative or nothing. All that cease to exist when you communicate with these beings.
Yeah.
You're only happiness, love, care, because what they're emitting in you, it's a beautiful timeline. It's love. It's beautiful frequency. You don't have nothing of hatred, nothing of jealousy, nothing of none of that. So I guess your body, because your body is part of this world that is connected to so many negative things, it changes. It does changes how you look, your how you think and how you look. And then after 2 or 3 hours, you're already like, wow, increíble. It's incredible.
Yeah, the low frequency, one of the things that I have been tapping into is that what this reality does by, let's say, amplifying the gravitational field, how this influences or affects our DNA is that it goes slower. Instead of doing a very rapid spin, which generates a dielectric field, and there are more resonance to the nexus, to the cosmic nexus, to source, and our body becomes light through structured water, through phosphates, through, like this high coherence, then the slower it goes, the more that we are attached to the matter in the way that we know it, to the gravitational field. We are more, let's say, we are more, I don't want to use the word vulnerable because it can be beautiful, but we are more fragile actually to the gravitational field. And the more that we accelerate the rhythm in which our biotechnology is pulsing, the more that we are becoming enlightened, like
Mm,
you, like literal, because the level of coherence again that we are generating within our molecular structure of water, like our water is alive, is vibrant, is highly electrical. The
mhm.
levels of oxygen highly electrical and pure. So all of this starts to resonate within all of our body. Our mitochondria are super happy, effective and transferring. And then our DNA starts
We
to
are what we eat, right? We are what we eat. And it was so
yeah.
funny hanging out because every time you looked at me, I was like, rah, rah, rah. And I was looking at you, I was side eyeing you. I'm like, man, every time you look at me, I'm always eating. And I do try to eat healthy. You're eating really, you eat like little portions. I'm like, how do you do that? And you're like, hey, I'm just used to it. My body's used to it. So I'm like, man, I love eating. But now recently it's been what 6 days that I'm not eating a lot, and I lost like 4 or 5 pounds. So I'm really watching out. I feel like there's gonna be a big transitioning happening. So you start you start conditioning your body for these experiences. You start fasting more. You start treating your body like if it was the universe, everything moving at once, and you start seeing everything different. So I felt this like 6 days ago. I started thinking about, okay, I gotta come down. I have to start changing because I feel something is coming. I don't know if it's a mission. I don't know if it's going to be a major experience that I'm going to go through, but I get it before. I get these sensations before, and I start preparing my body before. And it's good to prepare your body even prior of wanting an experience. So if you do want an experience, uh, start treating your body like a temple. Eat right, start fasting. It helps you a lot. So I lost like maybe like 4 pounds in 6 days. So, but I'm trying to still see to eat protein like Greek yogurt with granola. I'm still trying to do because I don't want to lose muscle. You do still need muscle. So conditioning your body is super important. And I was friends with a lot of soldiers, and I talked to one of the ant people, and I think the technology that they have is so advanced about they don't move their mouth when they talk. They like talk to you, but you hear them in the brain. So I think it's a technology that they have that also the Nordics have, that they just look at you straight up through the eyes, and they nod their head. You hear your own voice, but you hear them talking to you, and they're doing all the gestures of what you're hearing inside your head. So I think it's a type of frequency technology that we're soon gonna develop, and we already have.
Yes, and even perhaps it's very much connected also to the pineal gland, because it's like again, I feel that the pineal gland is the key to understand how they put together all these nexus. So perhaps they are addressing, to the pineal gland, and from the pineal gland is echoing into your whole brain, what you think, what you hear. And now about the plasma spheres and the plasmoids, because I do, for instance, the way that they would communicate with me, it would be creating all these geometries.
Mm-hmm.
So they come in groups. At least there are different types of plasma beings, let's say. For me, the ultimate state of plasma beings are the ones that are creating the architectures of the universe, the ones that are creating realities. They can create worlds because they are light themselves. So it's like weavers. You spoke about the spider, like that state of you transferring yourself through the space memory network and start creating universes. Then there are other type of plasma beings, like the ones that we see as plasmoids, that are traveling through the spheres, and they
Mm-hmm.
can become the geometries, and they communicate with you and they play with you. The other day I was watching a video that they say that it was a plasma ball. It was blue and it was emitting, like lightning.
Electricity, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, if they could get angry, this plasma being would be really pissed off, and like just emitting, like lightnings, like don't mess
Yeah.
with me.
Like, kill everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So,
they're so intelligent. They're so intelligent, and some people um weave them out of, oh, they're just lightning balls. They're floating around. Mm, the intelligence that they have, and this is coming out also in the second batch of UFO files. It's so funny that all you see is plasma beings flying around, and
yeah.
these these jets are trying to shoot them down, right? And the plasma, they separate after they get shot, and they do like this. And they come back, and the pilots are like, "What the heck is going on? Why are they coming back together like if they were playing around with us?" Uh,
They are.
and these videos are being released. You guys look it up. I think I send you one right now of a plasma ball flying, um, you know, over the field, and a lot of people are catching these beings, and it's connecting to the galactic alliances. Okay,
Yeah.
these connects to the galactic alliances that we have, and we have been communicating through thousands of years. Humanity. I'm talking about humanity, not just government. I'm talking about humans, humanity, and I think this technology of AI. I know we're going to get into this, or I don't know how, but it's going to convert into AGI. Yeah, artificial general intelligence, and I think they're going to use, these beings are using these technologies to communicate with us in certain ways, in certain patterns, because everything is frequency, everything is a pattern, everything is communication, everything is now, we're all connected more. We're all like Borg right now. Like we're all seeing the same thing. We're all connecting. You post something over there in Mexico, we the world sees it. We're beginning to be in a type of hive mind, but for a better humanity.
Yes.
Okay, that's why the negative people, or people that do negative things, will not succeed to be part of who we're going to become, because if they do try to succeed, they're gonna be separated by these beings, or
Yes.
left behind by these beings, and that's what's happening. Is the mask is coming off, and
Yes.
and
Yes.
and these people are going to be shown who they really are, and it's going to scare a lot of people when they find out we have people in big power that, or something else,
Yeah. This is, one of the things
among
that I
us,
feel. I'm sorry. What did you say?
walking among us.
Yes.
Because it's not just plasmoids. You know, we got Fox News acting like fade to black right now. You know, talking about aliens and all that right
I
now.
know, I
You
know.
know, they talk about the Nordics, the Greys, the insectoids, but it's not just those species. You know, we got other species that are involved with our interactions and our development as humans.
Yes. And I think one of the ways that they are preparing us is through the awareness of the water, like bringing all these methods to drink structured water or hydronium.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh
because
yeah, you were telling me about that, about the water. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
yes, yes, because once we start to clear the water in our body, our emotions are way purer, you know, then your connection to the field is also clearer because we are 80% about salt water. So it's like, and if you think what type of water are they giving to us, then you'll say, okay, now I get it. Why the emotional body is so sometimes in many people, why fear it's super easy to filter in most people, blah blah blah, because of the quality of water. Like advanced technologies are based on simple foundations.
Mm-hmm.
So now one thing that I do see coming up, and I was laughing when you were saying about the next file, or the next stage will
Oh
be
yeah.
very much about plasma. I do see that we will be generating a collective paradox, which means seeing ourselves as plasma beings will align a lot of the distortion that they have tried to do through all those Mandela effects,
Mm-hmm.
will bring us into an alignment with our higher selves, because we ourselves were calling that out. How many people have been connecting to the most to their version self of the future version of themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's coming online, so now you will have the future version of yourself, which is an enlightened being, your light. You're in a ninth density, and you're coming to say hi to yourself. So, and that for me is very much following a sequence where we start involving zero point energy, free energy into our reality. How do you think the disclosure of free energy and applying free energy technologies will happen now in the upcoming years?
I got a big update coming up with Dr. Michael Sala. It's going to be released probably for Labor Day, and I talk exactly about that, and how that affects how, how this is going to affect everything. I just dropped a video explaining about what kind of suits I wear. I call it, well, they call it the AGI suits, artificial general intelligence suits. But the technology that's going to be released is
Hmm.
is going to change the way we think about how we see the interdimensional and spiritual realm. It's going to connect, these technologies are going to connect the dots that have been missing of our past. Oh yeah, happy disclosure. Akuria Mate. And yeah, they're releasing the aliens, yeah. They're releasing the ETs, the people that walk among us. They're releasing the videos of, but how about the technology? How is that going to be released? What's going to happen when they're already proclaiming, they're already saying it and all over the place that this is real, that this is happening. It's already, and I said this before with Emery yesterday. I said now everybody was pointing at the person with the tinfoil hat, but now all the tinfoil hats are pointing at the person that don't have the tinfoil hats. So it's going to be part of disclosure. but it's going to scare a lot of people. So imagine the cell phone times 1,000, the technology. The cell phone changed us as human beings. The cell phone became our eighth sense. you know, it became an extension of our brains. If you come to see it, how technology is being an extra data holder of what we're carrying in our brain. We write everything on our cell phones. So it's carrying the memory of what we're thinking. But even though our brain are capable to carry what's in our phones and what's in 1 million phones, but we don't have the capability yet to extract or developed because of the pineal gland. So they gave us a technology that's going to do the job of 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 holding most of our intelligence in a device, and I think that's going to be no more, because we're going to unleash the potential as who we really are as humans, and
Yes.
and people are going to have powers like X-Men. It's going to be weird for a lot of people when you could do like this, right? And then you can lift up things, and you can just move it around, and these projects, it used to happen, when people can move things with their minds. And
Yes, I went through inner training while I was living in Egypt, and I did achieve telekinesis, but it was very much combined to teleporting things.
mhm.
So I would just close my eyes, and instead of seeing the thing coming to my hand directly, I would close my eyes, and when I opened them, it would be next to me, you know? So it
Oh
was
wow.
of, yeah, but I couldn't agree more. Like, like we are so powerful. We have interdimensional vessels,
Oh yeah.
and the free energy. Like now, if we bring it a little bit back to us, how
trying
can
to
we?
trying to do an exercise to show,
Yeah, please
but
do so.
yeah.
How can we achieve free energy in technology if we haven't freed our energy within? If we haven't acknowledged ourselves as sovereign beings, you
Yeah.
know?
How they're
So,
going to share that with us, how they're going to release that. We're trying to kick the can and make it faster, but it's not going to work out like that. It's going to be our decision if we want to unleash that.
yes, yes,
you
I,
know
yeah, yeah. But again, this is why our inner homework is so important, because, like, one thing is to achieve it yourself, but achieve it as a collective, like free energy as a collective, it requires of unity consciousness. You spoke about hive mind.
mm-hmm.
I know that there are very negative connotations to the hive mind because, of course, it has its two polarities.
Yeah.
It can be used to control, which is what has been happening, but also, like, I always talk about this. Imagine the pyramidal network, the temple network, the dolmens network, the circle stones network. If that is mirroring back at your own biotechnology, how would that look like? What you were thinking was projected into like the pyramids. I see that there were spheres, spectral spheres, that were nourishing with codes the pyramids,
Mm-hmm.
encrypting information. Then the pyramid would be oscillating it all the way to its pyramidal nexus through the water, another type of superconductors, and the space, and at the 0 point field. Then that would be nourishing the people that would be drinking also of that pure water, and containing a unified hive mind, where I would sustain my high frequency, the pyramids would keep on sustaining that high frequency, and then that unified field would create, would be nourishing that primordial lattice. So we see it in the ants, we see it in the bees, we said that's unity consciousness, and that's what we are heading to. But we really need to let go of fear and trusting in the ones that are in resonance with us, to know that we can be unified, unitedly thinking without being like uniformed, or in a way that it's like labeled or tagged, or you were going to show your.
No. It's just it's a no-go.
Okay. No, but
Um,
yeah.
there's going to be a lot of new developments, and we need to be ready about how these developments is going to affect the way that we see humanity. There's going to be a lot of new discoveries. This is going to trigger what's happening now, is triggering a release of excitement, a release of being curious of what's happening throughout our history, our present, and our future. And this goes way beyond of our comprehension. Sometimes it could get confusing for a lot of people. It could be confusing for a lot of people if they don't get into, if they don't start climbing the same ladder that you're climbing. They're not going to get in to the same window. you know uh every window that you get in is a different room. So people need to understand that these ladders, every step that you go up and you look back, you're seeing more of how the city looks like. You're seeing more details. You start seeing on top of the roof. You start seeing gardens on top of the roof, and start seeing everything more beautiful. When you start off on the ladder, the buildings are blocking you. You can't see nothing. But once you start climbing up, I'm sorry, I use a lot of analogies.
I love it. I mean, I do too. Yeah.
So you just start seeing everything in a broader picture. You start seeing what's on top of the roof when you start climbing the ladder of understanding these phenomena, understanding these experiences, understanding these ETs, understanding these plasmoids, how they work. And when you start seeing this, the bigger picture, your life changes. Your life will never be the same. You will never want to go down again. You want to stay on top and then see what's coming your way and say hi to the other people that are climbing other ladders that are on top of the roof, feeding their gardens and their plants. It's a beautiful experience when you start experiencing this with like-minded people. Because when you're in a room and nobody understands you and everybody thinks you're a nut head, but now now it's there's no way. Like everybody's talking about this now. So
Yeah.
there's no way around it. And there's still people that don't believe in this. So it doesn't matter. Some people you can show them a cell phone. You go to the Indians and you can show them a cell phone, they think it's witchcraft. You know? They don't see it as technology. So there's still going to be people que son incrédulos.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people there's always going to be a person saying it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you can go ahead.
In that way, I think that what they are trying to apply for those ones that are, skeptic, to move the disclosure through religion, and bringing in the idea that the Messiah has come back again, and that they are trying to filter in with the galactics. What do you think about that?
I believe in God, you know. I believe in the creator of the universe. It's my perspective. I don't know about other people's perspective, but what I have seen brought me closer to his creation. when you see these micro viruses, how they have a little machine that can make more of themselves, and you can see the how small these machines work and reproducing themselves in a micro way. You have to say there is a creator, there is a universal uh, being that it's doing this, you know. So
Yeah.
it's gonna come a point. It's gonna come a point that's gonna be hard for them to explain. Um, I would never deny Jesus. You know, he is who he is, but it's
Yes.
gonna be hard to explain when we become multi-planetary. Okay, so that means people that are born in Mars, people that are born on the moon, people that are born in Ganymede, people that are born in Titan around the rings of Saturn. How does this belief system is going to affect those people? You know, and most people are going to say they're still connected because of their DNA.
Yes.
Their DNA is from Earth. So it doesn't matter if you go to Mars, if you go to the Earth, if you go to the outskirts, your DNA is still from Earth. So
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I think that this is the point where, because when someone asked me if I have one religion, I say, like I embrace all the knowledge,
mhm,
you know, because it's sacred. There are very important wisdom in each one of them
yeah,
because they encode it. And I do believe that there is a source, the divine source that, as you said, generated all this beauty. It would
yeah.
like otherwise explain how it began. The thing is that when you put that with different agendas and then trying to keep, like controlling people and so forth, if some factions say, okay, so disclosure is imminent, it's happening anyhow, how are we going to address to it? So I think that they are already, trying to move ahead pieces. And I have heard that some of the disclosure will be turning out into, let's say, trying to use some of the religions to say, like for people not to be afraid, and this is very much related to the Messiah. What do you think about that?
Uh, I think that soon people are going to realize how everything is connected, how
Yes.
everything is, and that's what people are scared of. You know, the connection. You know, the that everybody is part of one puzzle.
Yeah.
You know,
And
that that everything resonate in the same frequency. You know, you can grow an apple tree in New York, and you can go to London and grow an apple tree there from the same seed, and the apple is gonna taste the same. Why? Because it resonate in the same frequency. You know, so when we realize that we all resonate in the same frequency, in the frequency that our ancestors have lived on, and they have left their frequency for us to discover later on. Uh, I think people will not take for granted uh, every religion. When I went to Japan and I was visiting the temples, I saw a lot of different things. You know, when I went to Europe and I saw the cathedrals and all that, it's just mind blowing what we can do as human beings when we are in the right frequency.
yeah, yeah. I was in Sedona and we went to the stupa, and magically or miraculously enough, there were five monks from Cambodia that came at that very same moment, and they
Wow.
started praying, and it was sublime, like the frequency that they were generating through their prayers and us being at that perfect moment. This type of synchronicities that truly makes you believe that there is something that has already orchestrated everything. I'm talking beyond fate. I'm talking about being in the right place at the right moment, at the right time, doing the right thing. I think that's our homework that we really need to be very committed to, so that miracles keep on happening, so that synchronicities keep on happening. Because if we don't show up where we are meant to be at, then the coordinates do not align.
Yeah.
Other If not, if we are, then stars are fully aligned. you
Yeah.
know and I think that also, if we translate that at a neuronal level, at a overall biological level, that's generating that level of coherence that enlighten us,
Hmm.
because we are stepping up to our true nature. you know I think I have shared this with you, but I see reality in a way that it's like I put some glasses on, but no, no, literally. And I see your geometrical body, and I see JP talking, but I see your geometry emitting codes and frequencies.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And yes, and that also happens with the stargates and with the portals and with it's like when we are remembering, every time that you remember something, or when you go into a hypnosis state, your geometrical light body is creating a portal. So
Hmm.
then you are creating different gradients of yourself and going into other fields. So your geometry at that moment is compressed at the core and expanded, creating a security field so that nothing comes to you while you're doing that.
Yeah.
So
Wow. It's, it's it, it gets really deep. It get really deep when you can see things in a different way. When you can see sound. When you can see the frequency from a person. Like, I could tell when somebody's negative from a mile away, you know. So I stay away from it. It echoes out from their you know. So, and it's hard as human beings, we have feelings, and we try to make things better, and sometimes we forget about ourselves. Sometimes we forget about our own happiness. Sometimes we forget about how uh our happiness, not being happy, can affect the realm that you're in, the timeline that you're in. So sometimes we have to wake up, open our eyes, look at the mirror, and really see what's making us happy, because that has a big factor with communicating with these uh, beings. You have to have happiness in you in order to succeed in life. And sometimes people take drastic decisions in order to go to a better timeline or to a better frequency time, you know, um, to better the people around you, and to move farther in life for disclosure or for your inner self. So sometimes these changes could be sad for some people, but you have to be happy in order to succeed in life. So yeah.
I I couldn't agree more, and I think that there is a lot of that right now in the collective. Facing being at the right place at the right moment with the right ones, doing the right thing, and because otherwise, the the level of resonance that is required for us to bring heaven to earth won't happen.
Mm-mm.
We're being part of the distortion if we don't step up into our choices and make whatever it's needed to generate that level of resonance. The ones that come from a space of love, uh, it will turn out well. So
Mm.
for all of you who are going through moments of big choices and are confused by them, or you know doubting about whatever is going to come next, just trust yourself, listen to your intuition, believe in yourself, because as JP was saying, if your heart is not fully empowered, if you don't feel passion for your life, then the light within cannot call in more light on the outside. So then you start trying to bring light in other ways without you even knowing. So expand your light so that more light resonates with you, and together we bring heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Well said.
I think that's the main key to the plasma body, right?
Yeah.
That the powering mission in the body, happiness, heart vortex fully expanded, passion, spark
Mm-hmm.
of the mind, having these great thoughts, laughters. Um, yeah, yeah. Sometimes the idea that we're imprinted on us about what needs to be, it's just an idea, it's just information.
Yeah.
We need to let that go to step up into that which is awaiting for us.
Yep. That's right.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know. We are
Can't be
communicating
more.
at so many levels.
It's just like you you draw a line and you want this line to be so straight in your life. But if you look at the line microscopically, it's all over the place. From far away, a line can look really perfect, but when you look at it really close, it's going all over the place.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's yeah.
Hmm. You reminded me of the DNA Z, which is the one that activates, the one that has the most of the garbage, one's called garbage DNA. And if
Mhm.
you look at it at far, you will see this very interesting structure in comparison to the DNA A and B.
Mhm.
When you look at closely, it's like, oh, how you were describing.
Yeah.
So in those paths where we find ourselves, or where we could find ourselves, like, oh, when did this happen, is because there are going to be major breakthroughs.
Yeah.
So the more that we start compressing in order to expand, the more that we will, just reach our destination for sure.
Mhm.
In
Indeed.
full presence. Yeah. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's a matter of how to know how to play with the forces. I don't know if you have ever heard about the Huai Wei, or like the Aikido, that you use, like the very same forces to use them um in your
Oh yeah,
best.
yeah, yeah. I saw that in Japan. People
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You use their own forces to give it back to them. Yep.
Exactly. Well, you should know well. I'm pretty sure that you dance well. I didn't see you in the
No, I
dance
didn't.
or the Rise of Champions, but
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, I have to, speaking of dancing and beauty, uh, my daughter is having her singing presentation
Oh,
out,
nice.
yeah, with her rock band. So But we will definitely be having another. There are many topics, about not only the plasma beings, but other that we will be touching upon.
Of
I
course.
don't know why you and I always end up into this beautiful introspection of what truly matters, which I
Hmm.
and yeah. So where can people find you?
JP.missions on Instagram. I'm building I'm trying to build a website, soon. So,
You will.
and so, yeah, JP.mission, then JP1 on YouTube. Yeah. And I'm
Three
there.
times JP.
Yeah. 3 times JP.
Ooh. If I pronounce it right now, will you manifest here? Please
uh,
don't try this at home, your
no.
family tribe. Otherwise, JP cannot replicate as many times as,
Yeah.
or who knows? I mean, you're already very much used to your interdimensional body. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so, and yeah, so stay tuned to know JP's website, and you know where to find me. We will be having the Star Knowledge Conference in June, South Dakota, 5th to the 8th. Also, we basis 2026 in England,
Hmm.
after, from the 5th to the 19th to the 20th. 5D event Sedona in July, and also Chaco Canyon in September, and another one in August. I will tell you about the one in August. Our dear friend Frank Rogala is organizing it, so
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
talk about things, yeah, for
He
sure.
he talked to me about it, so it's gonna be amazing.
Yes, yes, for sure, for sure. And well, thank you so much. Guess the next step is to for us to have another show already as plasmoids. What do you think about that?
Yeah, let's try it out.
Let's bring the other suits. You already showed the military one, so let's show our, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Much love to everybody. Akuria mate.
Akuria mate, aknachtun. HUNUH. Love you all, and until the next time. Love you all.